Hello, and welcome to Tell Me About Your Book. My name is John Christian, and my guest today is self-published author Parvati Markus. She wrote a book called Isabella Castaspella. Sound interesting? Well, it's a story of a happy little witch and her friends. So stay tuned, and we'll find out more. Hi, Parvati. Welcome to the show.
Why, thank you. It's wonderful to be here.
I understand you've written a few different books. Which one would you
Yes.
like to talk about first?
Well, the one I'd like to talk about is Isabella Castaspella, the happy little witch and her friends. It's the children's book. My other books are adult books, and they're in the spiritual realm.
Okay, so this one is
Yeah.
specifically for children
Yes.
to read or to read to children, either way.
Either way, we've been saying that the age range is about 5 to 9 or 10, sort of kindergarten through fourth, third or fourth grade. The younger children, it gets read too, and the older ones can read it themselves, and they really enjoy the rhyme because the whole book is in verse.
Well, this
Yeah.
older child got a copy of it. You were kind enough to send me one, and I can tell that it's a lot of fun. If only I had a child to read it to.
Well, there's always your inner child.
That's right. I do look at it on occasion and find some pleasure from some of the interesting, fun things that you've written. Tell me, what inspired you to write this book?
Well, actually, the muse visited my co-author, Rhoda Baum, about 20 years ago. And her mother used to read or tell her stories about a little witch. And 20 odd years ago, she suddenly had a download, you could say, about these characters in the story. But she's not really a writer. And I have been for many decades. So, and she's my best friend for the last 50 years. So we did this together.
I see. How
Yeah.
long did it take for you to put it together?
Well, I mean, we both were living exceedingly busy lives, and then about 2.5 years ago, almost 3 years ago now, she was in a bad auto accident and broke her neck. And then shortly after that, the pandemic started. So both of us were grounded. We were home, and so through the miracle of Zoom, we were able to finish the book.
Interesting. And so I
Yeah.
guess you don't live close to each other, or
No, she's in New York and I'm in LA.
okay.
So, yeah.
And besides, the pandemic kept people separate anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. So, which, really kept me home. And of course, with the physical problems that she's had since the accident, she's been home. So it was a good time to work on the book. Yeah.
Sure, sure, of
Yeah.
course. Did you find that some of the childlike humor boosts the spirit somewhat as
Oh,
well?
absolutely. I mean, working on this book is really what kept her going through all of the things that she's had to deal with since the auto accident. And for me, it was just a delightful change from the more intense or serious, work that I usually do. It's not that different from the spiritual books that I work on, that it's, a children's fun tale, but it's also based on the idea that the real magic is love.
Okay.
And that, the importance of friendship, the importance of how one deals with a bully, who in this case is Lavinia Lamini,
Right,
and
right.
how to act, how to ask for help from your friends or from your mentors or the adults in your life. There's a lot of life lessons.
Yeah, just
you know
basic spirituality is what you're talking about.
Basic spirituality, yes.
Humanist
It's
kind of,
just disguised as a children's animated tale.
sure, sure. Yes, well, I did take a
Yeah.
look at some of the other books that I thought
Mhm.
we'd be talking about today.
Sure.
Nonetheless, it's interesting how you did do a turn there. What made you do that?
Well, I do have 3 grandchildren, And so, right away, that was, and the youngest one was sort of my go-to person, for any questions I had about Isabella. It was,
Yes.
And it was her reading it aloud to herself, that helped me with a lot of the rhyming and a lot of, she was very fussy. The words had to rhyme. She
Right.
really.
So she played a role of
She
an
definitely played
editor
a role.
almost.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And how are sales doing for this book?
Well, it's not off. It's not running off the bestseller chart at this point. But then again, it takes a lot of money to do a lot of the marketing that does that.
So I heard.
And not having deep pockets,
Hmm.
we've been rather limited
Okay.
in our approach. But we expect we're in there for the long haul. And eventually, what I would really like is to get it into a studio exec somewhere and be able to pitch a movie or an animated series.
Interesting. Sure.
Yeah.
Well, you're in the
Yeah.
right part of the country for that.
Yes, indeed.
Do you have any prospects, any ideas, any direction?
No,
No.
the animation world is sort of like this niche world that's very hard to get a toehold into. And if you know anybody, let me know.
No, I work in reality television, which is kind of
Slightly different. Yeah. Somewhat animated.
the same. Somewhat, yes.
And there's also a wonderful audiobook. This wonderful voice actor named Joanne Lichtenstein did over a dozen different voices for the book.
Isabella Castaspella is her whole name. Her friends call her Issy, a little witch of fame. She lives in West Broomfield, which lies east of the moon. You'll hear about her world of magic very soon.
So it would be like a dynamic recording with the different voices. And
very much so. It brings it alive. And there's sound effects. Every time Isabella casts a spell, you hear some very exciting sound effects.
That's great.
Yeah. So
wow.
That one's really fun.
And that's available as well.
Available as well. Also at Amazon, Audible, iTunes.
Excellent. Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Any plans to write future books such as that for children?
I don't know if I'd want to tackle a book that long all in verse again. That was, I think that may have been a one-time achievement, but we'll see. We did a song for Izzy, and so I had to join ASCAP. I mean, I learned all of these different things that I've never had to deal with before. Cool. So it's been quite the learning curve.
There's your other income stream right there.
Well, Izzy was so busy flying here and there. The meanest witch of all was out to give a scare. Izzy and her friends knew what they had to do. So Halloween is fun for all your friends and you. Isabella, cast a spell. She's gonna cast a spell on you. Oh, Isabella, cast a spell. She's gonna make your heart be true. Oh, Isabella, cast a spell. She's gonna feel the love within. On Halloween, don't be mean. It's love that always wins.
The other thing that was quite intense for me is that 2 books came out at the same time. We wanted to bring Isabella Castaspella out in time for Halloween, because even though it's not a Halloween story per se, she is a little witch. So appropriately for this time of year. Right. And at the same time, the book I was doing with Mandala Publishing called Whisper in the Heart, their publication date was delayed because of the paper problems in the supply chain. So they wound up coming out about a week apart from each other.
I see.
And
but that one is not self-published, is it?
No, that one's not self-published.
Okay.
So I'm not having to deal with, the same things I did with Isabella.
Yeah. In terms of spirituality, how would you define what you are?
I was brought up semi-Jewish, meaning absolutely no religious training, but born Jewish. And then, of course, I spent a year living in India and do have an Indian guru who is the Neem Karoli Baba. that you see on the cover of Whisper in the Heart.
Right, right.
And so I call myself a Hindu.
I see. Oh, okay. I've actually heard that term.
Yeah.
I lived
I
in
mean, there
Toronto
are
long enough.
Jubus.
I've heard all kinds of things.
Right.
Well,
So,
I never did make it to India. I was planning to go in 2001, but something happened.
yeah, I love India. I really do.
And when was that you went?
In that, we're talking 1971, 1972. He left the body in 1973.
Okay. Well, do you have any final words about Isabella Castaspella?
Well, for anybody who's in the LA area, Saturday, the 29th, I will be at the Barnes and Noble in Thousand Oaks doing a author event of reading and signing books. And then I'll be doing the same thing at Barnes and Noble at the Grove in Beverly Hills on Sunday in full witch outfit.
Oh, cool. Well, sorry I can't be there to see that.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure talking to you about your book, Isabella Castaspella, which I have a copy of. I'm fortunate to have that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Read it to your inner child.
I will. I will. It's been a pleasure talking to you, Parvati.
It's been fun. Thank you, John.
Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, that's our show for today. And if you like what I do here on Tell Me About Your Book, then hit the like button and subscribe. Don't forget to ring that bell for future notifications. And if you are a self-published author, I would love to hear from you. Until such time, keep on writing and be kind to one another.